Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to a video that I didn't want to make, but apparently all of you felt incomplete from the last video that I made from someone else's request on my YouTube post of other lords in the second house. But you all wanted, okay, now what about second lord in other houses? I don't know if I made this. I should have made this. I already maybe have made this 4 years ago, 5 years ago, but I guess you need to know and you want to know. So that's what we're going to discuss as to what happens when your second lord on your birth chart sits in different houses. Second lord in the second, which I actually already discussed in the yesterday's video. Second lord in the third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth, all the way to 12th and then the first. And you got to understand the theme about feeding. Once you know the theme of feeding, then there's so much you can get out. Meaning, second lord is second house is about food, resources, right? It's everything is about food. Why do you want to become famous, powerful, have money? It's so number one, you can feed yourself. That's it. That's like the number one thing. You can have $1 billion, but if you can't eat any food, it's completely useless. So it's the house of feeding. It is a house that values something because our values comes through our family, our kicks and kin, our kutumba, our family. So it says, what is your value system? What have you learned since you were born all the way till 20, 30, 40, or at least when you were adult? What was your value system? That's what this house controls. This house shows how you can be fed by using this part, which is what? Your vocal cords. Meaning, like for example, if you have let's just say for example, if a malefic is in the second house, why is it that when they say that a malefic is in the second house, this person will not have money, will not get money? Have you ever thought about that? Because especially whatever this time is, I don't know if it's Kal Yuga or Drap Yuga, whatever, forget about you guys. Nobody knows anything. Okay, on social media, everybody will say something for getting impressions. But whatever this time is, if you are absolutely honest and crude, you cannot make money. So what happens with malefics, such people can actually have extremely strong values where they can be extremely rude and brash because it's their belief system that they're not going to do business with you. Whatever it is, like for example, especially nowadays, literally every country is divided politically because of social media. It's either right or the left, right? It's like a gang war. It literally is that, I mean, if you look at the Boston Tea Party, I mean, they created a whole revolution over 2% tax increase. So imagine what is to come now. But the thing is, such a person might say, oh, because you voted for this person, I'm not doing business with you. Why? Because you don't believe in this country and you don't believe in this country's value and this and that. And guess what happens? They lose the opportunity to make money. Where in order for you to make the maximum money, you have to play the chess game. You have to be liberal. You're going to have to be diplomatic. You're going to have to steer through regardless, like you have to put your belief system aside. Okay. This is where Benefics Planet help because they have the ability to understand how liberalism can actually make me my money. Whether it's societally or overall good or bad, doesn't matter. Everybody's wanting to be fed. Okay, so you got to understand that part. This is why malefics are not welcome there because a person may stand very strong with their beliefs and they're willing to lose big deals. That's great. Okay, but second lord is hungry. So second lord is now going to another house to be fed. It wasn't, most people weren't as lucky to be getting fed from the home. So second lord in the second house is being fed. Without asking, it's being fed. The food is around it. Like, for example, if I'm here sitting, I'm hungry, I don't have to go to my neighbors. I don't have to drive all the way down to the downtown area to eat. I have all the plates sitting here, so I'll take my food. Okay, I'm comfortable. And because second lord is in the second, you will see the ambition sometimes is not there so much, unless again a malefic can impact the second lord. Then the ambitious comes in, because malefic is not satisfied the way things are. They want to either change something or want more. Only then you're going to want more. But when you have second lord in the second house, you are comfortable. You are, okay with life. You may not be a millionaire. Second lord, second house doesn't mean anything in terms of millions and billions and nothing. It'll just help you sustain. Okay. But now, when second lord goes outside of the house, that's where the game starts. Okay. And especially second lord in the second, their value system is going to be very strongly connected with the family, because that's what they're surrounded with. Right? If somebody believes in the fact that you need to help poor people, and that's what the family belief system is. But now second lord is going outside to get some value. Now they say, no, you should not help somebody who's poor. Let them come up. Only help them to a point where they can work. So different houses are giving different value system. And of course, if you don't know where your second lord is placed, what sign it's in, what nakshatra it's in, and along with all your astrological details, you can go to kairosastrology.com under shop section, where you'll find my books, reports, consultations, including my new course on wristwatch and wealth, where I'm actually putting 2 more examples today of people, how suddenly these things are turned around within a week or 2. They weren't even expecting it. I'm actually going to upload that on my course today. But when you have second lord going into the third house, right? Second lord in the third house. So now the second lord is going into the third house to feed itself. It has to now go outside of the house. Which means what? Number one thing, if you want to make money, you can be in your same birth home, birth city. It's not going to provide you much. You're going to have to leave and go. Sometimes you have to go far away. Sometimes you have to be maybe a little bit medium distance. But you're going to have to go far. Second lord's feeding will come through first struggles, then the feeding happens. Absolute struggle will be there. It's like your feet will be red from blisters because of the walking, the work that you have to do. But when that work actually starts paying you, now you're going to get a big chunk, but it does not come easy. Second lord in the third. Second lord in the third will also show that in order for you to feed yourself, you have to communicate. Somehow, some way, you're going to have to communicate. And this was a much tougher thing back in the days, where the only thing a person could do if they didn't have the connections is just become a car salesperson, go into, selling clothes and selling insurance, telemarketing. What do we have now? Now we have something called social media, where everybody has the chance to talk, to feed themselves. Use the third house area to feed themselves, which is media, internet, television, because that's what the third house is. Okay, third house is athleticism, sports. So now you're looking at, for example, second lord is in the third house. with Mars, Mercury, unless Mars, Mercury are the second lord with each other, and at the same time Venus is with them, then you can see this person can go into sports broadcasting. And these people make millions, at least in US. Some of these ESPN hosts, they're making millions and millions a year. Because that's where their feeding is coming from. And because third house is the house of that effort, one thing you will see, once, even twice, they have to go through a couple of shocks in their system with money. Because of the fact they will rush into doing something why they shouldn't have. There's this desire to just get it now. And in that getting it now, they can lose it all, and then they learn their lesson that I shouldn't have done this. Many of them would have kind of learned their lesson during this crypto wave that happened from the pandemic onwards. And also second lord in the third house. Usually you will see these people may, at one point they will have to wear some kind of a uniform in order to feed themselves. Whether somebody is working at a car plant and they're wearing like the, what do you call the overalls? One can be in police, army, air force, especially like Marines. These things are going to feed you. But everything's going to come through your effort. Second lord goes into the fourth house. So the first half you're going to sleep. And the only one that is going to be able to feed you is the mother. You're going to be reliant on the mother for a long part of your life. And only later on, you can say 30s to mid 30s is when this person's ability to make money awakens on their own. Here they need support early. Because without support, they can't make it. And so fourth house represents the mother, right? Fourth house represents our home. They have to, they kind of, even if they don't want to, they're forced upon being supported by the home in order to feed themselves. Their feeding, usually they will enjoy feeding themselves in private. Such people do not want to go out to make money. They want to find a way to be in their own private life, private world to make money. And second lord in the fourth does not mean that, well, your feeding and your money is going to come through home, land, real estate. No, but what happens is, because of the fourth house, you will see second lord in the fourth, when their purchasing of property happens, meaning their name goes on the deed, this awakens their second house of wealth. And this is where we can go in extreme depth if we know each planet. Sun in the fourth, or moon in the fourth, or Mars in the fourth as the second lord. It'll show many, 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 many things. Not all good, but not all bad either. And second lord in the fourth house shows that especially one will gain tremendously by the people that are known in their own vicinity, meaning their own culture, their own religious background, ethnic background. So this person can be in foreign lands, but the ones who are going to feed them are the people of their own village, of their own society. So a person goes to a foreign place, but does import-export business where they're importing things from the same town that they grew up in. So now they're bringing something valuable into the fourth house of their homeland, and the fourth house is giving them something because they gave something value to them. This will always be the thing. Whether you're in homeland or foreign lands, major support is going to come from your own people. And the other thing, the more this individual gives value to the mother, takes care of the mother, wants to take care of the mother, that is actually another activation for money to become more sustainable. Okay, but that's not the case always. Second Lord in the fourth house shows tremendous effort is needed between the relationship of the individual and their mother, or motherly individual, or guardian, whoever. It's a difficult relationship with second Lord in the fourth to sustain. Like tremendous effort is needed to sustain relationship for them. They feel like I have to rehearse before I actually interact with everybody that I know. It's effort. So it's kind of like going both ways. It's not, like I said, it's all positive, because without effort, that area just feels blank. Not just with mother. I'm talking about like relatives, siblings, because that is also fourth house. Friends. One can get tremendously lazy about keeping up with the relationship with this house. Because here, the planet is coming to rest. Whatever planet it is coming to rest and sleep. They don't feel like I have to make an effort towards doing this, doing that, because this is the night time. Same way, second Lord is in the fifth house. And also you will see actually, second Lord in the fourth house. Your value system will all be given through the mother and people of the home mostly. And it'll be very hard for you to let go of some of those principles if those principles are becoming quite antagonist related to the world. It may be correct, but like I said, if you want to feed yourself in this day and age, you have to play the chess game of agreeing with the world in the front. And even if they realize that, oh yeah, I shouldn't do this, but somehow something is instilled in them from the moment they were growing up, by the things that they saw, by the people that they were around, that, yeah, I really want to let some of these things go, but I can't. They're ingrained. Second Lord goes into the fifth house. Okay? Your value of your feeding, where it happens, you will learn many lessons through the people you were playing on the playground, people you attended school with. Your intelligence related to your, because these fifth house is intelligence, fifth house is children, fifth house is, the gain of the throne, not game of throne, gain of the throne. Fifth house represents, spiritual knowledge, mantras, and all of these things. So one thing we see is when second Lord is the fifth, the moment this person starts some mantra, especially this person, when they start doing some kind of a mantra, or when fifth Lord is in the second, that mantra helps them tremendously. Especially in terms of money. Like you'll find a million videos on Lakshmi mantra and mantra to activate money and wealth or something. And only when this person does it, those are the people you will see in commenting. Oh my God, it worked for me. Because the second house is getting its feeding from the fifth house. It's taking use of the fifth house to feed itself. And especially so for such people, whenever they kind of implement and going towards making money, where let's say they have a toy shop, bicycle shop for children, they open up schools, they open up, they release some app for children, anything connected with children, or especially mothers who are pregnant, that will feed them tremendously. Making someone else's life fun through games, they will make their earnings. For example, I'm not saying that this person has it, but like Mr. Beast, he caters to 10-year-olds, 12 years old, 13-year-old, maximum 14, 15, because to this day, I've not seen a single full video of him. But see, he's catering to them. And of course, I think he has Saturn and Sun and Mars in Bharani. Bharani individual, you will see, they will have many followers who are going to be young children. Why? Because remember, there's a whole story with the womb. Okay? Children will look for this person to break free from the womb. That's why. But fifth house will also show that through bringing a child in their life, when the children are born, their feeding starts. Why would their feeding start when children are born? Because when children are born, okay, second Lord is in the fifth. That means not only you're feeding yourself, now you have to feed the fifth house. So that means now the chart has to provide you with some means to feed yourself. And so this way you can feed your children. And second Lord in the fifth, continuous, the more they keep gaining knowledge. I'm not even talking about bachelor's degree or master's degree. When they're continuously getting some certificate, some new knowledge, in the actual environment of knowledge, they keep increasing their money and wealth. A lot of people you will see who say, I have read 100 books on finance, and this is why I am who I am, or blah, 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 even though it's their dasha and especially their yogas and progression that really got them wealth. It has nothing to do with books. These are just the roadmap to becoming that. That's it. But it's those people. When they find the value in education, the money comes in. But they go to feeding for the fifth house. Fifth house has to feed them. Education will feed this person. So education is very important. Children will feed them. Mantras will feed them. And making other people's life entertaining and creative will feed them. Also, you can also see second Lord in the fifth. People who do funeral rites for other people or their family member who has passed away, they can make money from that. Having a funeral home. You thought it would be the 8th house. It's actually the 5th house. With a funeral home, you'll be able to make money. Then second Lord, which needs to be fed. And also you will see with the second Lord in the 5th house, their children will teach them the most value. Their value in life is that, hey, life is fun. Life is a stage. You're all actors and players. So they're very easygoing in terms of their value system. Their value system is, hey, be happy, live and let live, have fun. Okay? That's their value system. And their value system will also be, I want to do something for the future generation. Those who want to do something for the future generations will have second Lord in the 5th. Because they're getting fed from the 5th house, so they have to give something to the 5th house, right? Then second Lord in the 6th house. 6th house of your enemies, competition, rivalries, debts, diseases. So second Lord is now going to the enemy to feed itself. You will see these people. If other planets are there, sometimes they'll have to go and ask the enemy or the person who doesn't like them, ask them for work. Ask them to give them jobs so they can make money. Such a person will have to feed themselves by resolving issues for other people. Resolving people's debt issues, resolving people's health issues, resolving people's disputes and fights. Okay. So now, but don't think that I'm going to say, well, this person can be a lawyer, this person can every day. For this, you look at Venus and Saturn. They're the main culprits. Venus and Saturn are main culprits of your profession and money. But whatever it is, the sixth house will say, I have to be used if you want to feed yourself. So if you're an actor, right? You're an actor. Second Lord in the sixth house. You can only feed yourself when you do some movie where you have to fight bad people, where you have to fight poverty, where you have to fight injustice, where you have to play the role of a lawyer as an actor. Those are the things that will make you a hit. So you see, Lord, wherever it is, it's showing the feeding. While the planet like Venus will show, this is how the money is going to come in. So, like for example, Venus is in the second house. With Jupiter, okay, you have to be in banking. But what do you do when you're in banking? Well, you only deal with giving loans to people. That's your job. Approving loans or dealing with people's bankruptcy or dealing with people's debt and helping them with their debt to income ratio, become a financial advisor because people are in debt. Because even when you're a financial advisor and your second lord is in the sixth house, you should only target clients who are in heavy debt so you can help them. They'll give you the money. And then you will also see whenever the second lord in the sixth house and the person gets sick, or when a family member gets sick and they help them, right after they recover from their illness, their money becomes active. I'm not saying your million's going to become active, but let's say you don't have a job, but you still went and helped one of your maternal aunts and uncles. They were sick. You bought them some food and something. Now, within a week or two, you get some job offer that, hey, we got your resume. Do you need a job? Why? Because you activated it through the sixth house of service. Such people will be having to deal with like government organizations like Red Cross or Blue Cross. What is it? Red Cross and NGOs and whatnot. Those things have to be dealt with. Second lord in the sixth. They have to fight for their money. So for example, let's say second lord is in the sixth. Eighth lord is in the second house. What's the prediction? You're going to have to fight for your inheritance. Now let's say Venus is with Ketu or Ketu's in the ascendant. You know what this person is going to do? They're going to say, they're going to tell their siblings, you keep whatever you want, just give me whatever you want. Or they'll tell their parents, I'm not getting into this, whatever you want to give me, you give me. So you see, it's not all the time that a person is going to fight. They have to have that desire to fight for what they own. Some people just don't care about that. But their placement will be there with that timing will come in that says, okay, now you're going to have to fight if you want this. And some will fight if it's in a fixed sign. Because that's the fixed karma. You can't get out of it. If it's movable, yes, you're control of what you want to do with that. Second lord is in the seventh house. You will see this person will need permission of the spouse to spend money. Second lord is going to the seventh house. That means the feeding starts from marriage onwards. When they get married, this is where their feeding is happening. When they do any kind of a business partnership, their feeding is happening. When they especially do any work or business, they have to deal with people on one-on-one basis. That's how the feeding will happen. So I'll go again. Let's say if you're an actor, right? Your Venus is saying and Saturn is saying you're a performing artist. Second lord is in the seventh house. Try to do as many movies with dealing with issues of the marriage, dealing with the marriage itself. Some business partnership goes bad, right? Like I think it was Diwar Zanjeer, Amitabh Bachchan. And those are the movies that are going to give you the best results. So you see, you're relying on that seventh house. If let's say you do an action movie, don't do action movie with this position or not as much where you're fighting too many people at the same time. No, you're fighting one person one-on-one. Like for example, Jet Li or Jackie Chan fighting a single person, like in Mortal Kombat, right? Now, second lord is in the eighth house, right? So now your feeding and your value is going to be the eighth house. First of all, you will see such people will love to collect secret artifacts, artifacts that are not known to people. Usually they will even love collecting things from like bones of dinosaurs, bones of some, if they're rich enough, they'll buy like the very first human and they're selling part of the bones for like $10 million, they'll buy it. Such people are the ones who naturally love and enjoy like hunting for things. They love going and taking the metal detector on the beach. Because their value system from their family was that if you want something, you gotta go find it, but also you gotta go keep it a secret. Such people are very secretive about their finance. Why? Because that's what their family was doing. Family may have looked like they're extremely poor, but they're multimillionaires. And the value system is don't display your wealth, keep it hidden. Their wealth is usually made through some family secret blessing. Family has a secret mantra that has been coming down from generations, and when they do these mantras on certain days, certain tithis, the family is getting money. Such people always go to astrologers to find out, how do I make money? This is a practical thing, I'm telling you. Okay, because I do readings every day. And I see like second lord in the eighth. And what their questions are, what they're doing, what they're wanting to do. Actually, especially now, most people want to actually go into occult, Reiki, mysticism, learn about Tantra and yoga. But I also see this particular person will learn value from their family to not use their wealth to make money, but to use other people's wealth to make money. Because their feeding is happening through the eighth house. Such people, for example, let's say you got second lord Mars in the eighth, such people can go into tax collection, accounting, to make money. Such people will deal with a lot of regulations and policies to make money. They'll be working in treasury department. Now, let's say, for example, somebody could be a plumber, right? Venus and Saturn, let's say Venus and Ketu and Mars are all together. This person most likely could be a plumber. Well, second lord's in the eighth. Usually you will see the most amount of money that they can make is when they are in an area where there are people with a lot of basements. People have a lot of basements and plumbing issues are happening there. Or especially when they go to places, or usually they will get a call where people will have bathrooms in the west or southwest direction of the home. So if they know that, this city has most bathrooms in the southwest direction of the home, and this person who's doing plumbing with second lord in the eighth house moves to that city, you're playing in millions. You guys don't know. Plumbers and electricians now, they're making almost 7 figures in US. If any plumber comes in to my house, electrician comes in, minimum 350 is going out of my pocket for anything. Now, if there's some equipment is required, this required, well, then more is going to go, and they're going from one house to the other. 1 hour, 2 hour at one house. Boom, they start their work at 7, they have their own business. That's amazing. Okay, so again, and then let's say you're an actor, second lord is in the eighth house, you do many roles related to being a detective. You'll any role that makes you die and come back, you'll do well in that. Any role that makes you lose your wealth and you come back, you will do well in those roles. You do paranormal movies, those roles will give you the best amount of business and money. Because your feeding is happening there. Now, second lord goes into the ninth house. Ninth house is your bhagya, your fortune, your luck, your father, your gurus, your teachers, your pilgrimages, your siblings-in-law. It's your grandchildren. Ninth house will represent misfortunes of the mother. Many, many things. So first thing we see what? Your feeding is going to happen through support of the father, mentor, teacher. One of them have to come in your life if you want to make anything happen. So if let's say you want to have a father, you better find a mentor about what you're doing. When you find a mentor, you start to feed yourself. And you will especially see when they have a mentor, when they have a guru, and they take care of the guru. This person then starts to find their ability to make money and wealth. Money and wealth will come through especially tourism. Their wealth will come through dealing with banking institutes. Their feeding is happening when they go far away from home. They may not be able to go to foreign lands, because for that, moon somehow has to be connected with Rahu and Ketu. Your fourth lord most likely needs to be in a movable sign. There's all these little conditions. But even then, if you cannot go to foreign lands, you must go far away, especially usually on heights. You see, when a person goes and works on higher planes, heights, they tend to do well. I don't care what sign is in the ninth house. Okay, the foundation of the ninth house is heights. So if Pisces is there in the ninth house, it'll be heights, a place of heights where there's water. That place will give you tremendous success. Second lord is in the ninth house. It can show that a person will be making money by especially providing assistance towards an already established text, already established work. So there's established work of a guru. Like for example, you take astrology. Second lord is in the ninth house. This person needs to somehow now help translate this work and teach other what this particular thing means, instead of them creating something new. They need to preserve what that there is and keep that preservance going. This is where their feeding is happening. And of course, this is a position where such person can have very crude values, such strong values that they can hurt their luck. These are the people who grew up in such patriarchy society or environment that if they know this is bad, that was taught to them, it's not only ingrained in them fully, but they use it as an arrow to go after someone else who is trying to break those. They will use an arrow. They're willing to fight for their beliefs, and this is where, again, if that liberal mindset is not there, then it can hurt that value system. Like they may not want to, like such people can become extremely rigid sometimes, depending on the planets and surrounding of the planets. Like this person will not marry somebody unless they are this culture and religion, or they're from this last name. And I've had those people. Like, for example, I get such sad people coming to me that I'm like, why am I even looking at their chart? Like they're depressed because they have 2 daughters and they have no son in their life. And they're depressed. I'm like, well, I'm not going to sympathize with you for this stupidity. Let me show you a 50-year-old couple who is begging for even a single healthy child. And here you are crying because you have 2 Lakshmis with you and you're crying for vision. Stupidity. Some people are just, I can't believe, even in 2024, exist even in especially foreign modern society. Unbelievable. But see, second lord going to it needs its feeding in the ninth house. So by one way or the other, they're going to have some form of a higher education and knowledge, whether it's divine knowledge, whether it's actual university knowledge. But even if, let's say, for example, Venus goes on the 10th, Moon goes on the 12th, they're not able to really be educated. They will still be able, they may not have the certificate to prove that they know something, but they will be able to, through their luck and guidance, they will know more than other people. And that's their feeding source. So for example, you're an actor, right? You do roles of teachers, advisors, mentor, where there's a lot of themes related to the father. You're a lawyer. You go into banking. You go into wills and estates, family estates. You know, you're a plumber. You will see when you do plumbing work for churches, temples, mosques, synagogues, you'll make most of your money there. Schools. You become a plumber for schools. They have you on call. So this is how you take that approach. Then second lord goes into the 10th house. So it needs its feeding from the 10th house. So number one, their feeding will come through recognition. This person must first be recognized in order for feeding to happen. They have to have an important position in their life in order for feeding to happen. They must become a support system under a bigger organization for their feeding to happen. Such people, you will see, they will strongly get influenced by either father or father's lineage. Something from father lineage will bring them their feeding. Because remember, 10th house is second from the 9th house. It's what the value systems of the father is, or the paternal lineage. That's where it's coming from. They will greatly be supported through even government subcontracts, government work. And I don't need to give you other example, like if you're a lawyer, doctor, or like, let's say, for example, actor, what type of roles you have to do. But the thing is here, rigorous hard work. Rigorous hard work. Such people, first of all, because second lord is in the 10th house, do not really make it until past the age of 32. 32nd year onwards, their star rises. You know why? Because from the 10th house, 8th house is 11th. That's why. And the other thing, with second lord going into the 10th house, okay, usually their recognition, fame will come late in life. They have to be dormant, and then they will have, and it's like their life is dormant, but suddenly it just comes out. Why? Because 10th house is known as Makar Rashi, right? The crocodile. 10th house is the crocodile. Crocodile is always dormant, sleeping, slow. You can't even know if there's a crocodile there. And then the deers are crossing, zebras are crossing, antelopes are crossing, buffaloes are crossing, and boom, it gets what it wants, and it takes it down underwater and drowns it and it eats it. So you see, there's things, their money has these manduk jumps, these frog leaps that they have, where just suddenly out of nowhere, boom, comes and takes it. Then second lord is in the 11th. Now, especially also, the value system of second lord being in the 10th house, they're going to be very traditional in nature, very rigid in nature. They're going to be very conservative in nature. For them, when they help the poor, when they help people who are in the desperate needs, the common person, or when they actually even help people, either they're going to be helping people who are common people, or somebody extremely in the most powerful position. So that's what their value system is coming from. They say either I need to somehow help society in general, or the most powerful people who are controlling the society. So like, for example, you're a plumber. You might be going into homes of celebrities and fixing their plumbing issues, or government buildings, fixing their plumbing issues. Instead of some tech company, you are now a plumber for Google. You're a plumber for Oracle. So it is that established position. Then second lord is in the 11th. This is the Dhan Yoga. This shows one is lucky enough to just find resources. Like you're sitting at a coffee shop, minding your own business, somebody comes, sits to you, comments you about your watch. Oh, great watch. Oh yeah, I got this watch there. Oh really? Oh, you're into watches? Oh yeah, blah, blah, blah. And within 20 minutes, 30 minutes, this person's saying, oh, you're doing this? You're looking for what? My company is, I'm looking for somebody who's doing this. Why don't you just, here's my card, come on Monday. We'll talk watches too. And next thing you know, this person's getting 30% more than what the actual original advertised salary was, because they made this lucky connection with the watches with this other person. And now they're moving up in the company, and then suddenly they find somebody else who's saying, hey, I'm doing a startup. Do you want to take some stock options and just work for free for 3-4 months? But this is the potential. And they do it, and boom, next thing you know, they're like becoming millionaires. It's that gains that just comes to you. It is that resource. See, the feeding is going towards the resources. So resources have to come. Now, they may come with delay. They may come with absolute fight or obstacle, because we don't know what planets are impacting that particular planet. But the resources and gains will come when, when they just simply are existing. But usually you will see their value system will be all about wanting to connect with people. They're like, these are the people who, when they become rich, they'll be like, you must always have the best network circles. You must always connect with people. You must always talk to people. You must always, be around the smartest people, and then you will become wealthy. Well, the second lord in the 8th house will be saying, the way you're going to make wealth, keep everything a secret. That's how you make wealth. See, there's going to be like 20 different versions of how you become wealthy. Most don't apply to most people. Then, second lord is in the 12th. Their value system is, the more I give away, the more I get. Number one. You will see when they feed others, they get money. When they help out people in need, that's where their feeding is happening from. Such people become very smart about investments. They deal with a lot of losses, but they also then begin to gain, because they have to deal with the loss. They have to deal with the laws of this house. Such people will always donate to ashrams. Their value is about wanting to, you will see these people may even want to serve in the ashrams at one point. They want to go and be with some guru for a while. And especially their feeding is happening far away from home. Not too far sometimes, but it is again having far away from home. And especially it's the type of feeling that they sometimes may not enjoy. They'll be like, what am I doing here? Why am I here? What is this? I want to go back. Especially if there's a retrograde planet, they'll be like, this is a strange land for me. I'm going to go back. Now, if let's say your second lord's in the 12th with malefics, oh, you will enjoy. You'll be like, I'm glad I'm here. And what is your value system? What value system you grew up with since birth? Let it go. Don't worry, everything. You're going to die one day. Let it go. Who cares? Okay, you didn't get it. Let it go. They're like, just whatever comes in, comes in. Whatever's not coming in, not coming in. It's all part of the game. One day I'm going to die. I'm going to leave. That's it. That's the value system that they have in their life. They like to cherish that value system. So when these people lose big, they're not going to be crying. Like, yeah, lost. Okay, well, I'm sure I'll get it back again. It's only money. Right? When second lord in the 8th or second lord in the 6th loses money, well, now it's a shock. But they're expected to know that this money has to go away. This money has to be given to some form of need and help as well. So the more these people donate, and these are the people who will say, oh, you want to know the secret to becoming a multimillionaire? You give donations. And people be like, you know what multimillionaires do? They give big donations, big money. There's some secret to it. There's no secret. It's just that they probably have second lord in the 12th house. And so that is triggering their money. Second lord is ascendant. That means this is a number one, self-made person, but you will also, family automatically will give you what you need when you need it. When you need the feeding, it comes to you. Because again, remember when I was talking about that resource? It's still right there next to you. These are the people who will say, in terms of value system, that I did it. I did it, and because of my family, I'm here today. One of these other two things they will say. Like second lord and the fourth will say, because of my mother, I'm here. Otherwise, I wouldn't be nowhere. Second lord and the first will say, I made it through with a lot of struggles, but I made it. And it was my blessings of my family and my family being here that why I'm standing here today. So always be close to family. Don't leave the family. That is important. See, all these value systems you'll find in 20 different books. So this is how the feeding happens. But yeah, second house of wealth is coming to you. Meaning you get the resource. Usually you could get a family's wealth to start something. But it is you who has to make that money. It is you who is now responsible for feeding yourself. Okay. So hopefully the second lord and the 12th house have helped you. Remember, my courses are at kapielastrology.com, all my consultations. And again, if you're new here, subscribe below so you don't miss these type of videos. Otherwise, we'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.